Welcome everybody. We are live, but we're about to get started. So hello, welcome as you guys are joining. I'm excited about today's topic. Oh baby. So there we go. Yes, can we do it? Yes, we can. Okay, just a little setup on the back end before we there we go. Let's see if we can then do what we need to do. And then we'll get started, y'all. So, welcome as you're joining. Feel free to say hi in the chat. I can interact with you. You can ask me any question. We're going to dive into today's topic, which is pretty exciting. And there we go. Oh, it worked. Yes. Okay. And let's see if we can do. That's not what we want. Okay, so 1 second. It's got to do a little back end stuff before we can totally go live, even though we're live. Hi, everybody. Okay, so if you want to grab a pen and paper in case what I say, but this will be once we record it, it's live on the website. You guys get to interact with me on the website. So if you're on a social media platform and seeing this video and you want to interact with us right now, you can go to katherinemcintosh.com/connect and you can then ask a live question. I'm not able to answer them on social media because I can't see you on social media. We just get to stream on those platforms, which is pretty awesome. Love technology. All right. So today's a big topic because, oh my gosh, anger. Anger is an interesting topic, isn't it? Yes, it is. Okay, so there we go. And one more. And then we can get this party started. Let's see. There we go. There we go. And let's see. There we go. Okay, we can get started. So, welcome everybody as you're joining. So glad to have you here. So, I'm excited about today's topic. So, today's topic is how to work with anger when you're an energy worker, massage therapist, acupuncturist, workshop or retreat holder, yoga teacher, therapist, coach, and more. And, this topic actually could apply to absolutely anyone in any area of life at any time. And this topic of anger, if any of you are like, oh, yeah, this is right up my alley, because here's what, I was born and raised in a Irish Catholic family, and, anger was sort of a part of our world. And, my dad would get angry, my brothers and sister would get angry, I would get angry, we'd slam doors, we'd fight. And anger has this energy that brings it up in our nervous systems of fight or flight. And I want to share a really sort of pivotal moment in my life in which my relationship with anger changed. And so, based on my upbringing and based on the way I was raised, I sort of either fought, right, and showed up really freaking angry. I was definitely a pissed off teenager with raging hormones, and my intuition was increasing, but I didn't know that. And so a lot of times, parents don't always know this, or we don't have this information readily available, is when we are teenagers and we start to sort of activate the hormones. So we go through a hormonal shift. When we go through that hormonal shift, both men and women, it increases our intuitive capacities. So imagine as a 13, 14, 15, 16, whatever age you started to sort of develop your hormonal change or go through your hormonal change and you went through puberty and you're already confused, you're already dealing with self-esteem, you're already dealing with challenges in school and wanting to fit in and be accepted or feeling isolated. And then you put on top of it this hormonal shift based on puberty. And all of a sudden, that intensity of energy, of emotions, of intuition, of everything you've ever sort of known or not known, it comes flooding into your universe, but no one's there to let you know that you just sort of went through a huge life shift, absent of just what happens to you for females physically and for males physically. And so now you've got these raging hormones. You're 1,000 times more aware than you were before you hit puberty. And this also happens when women go through their monthly cycles. It also happens when women go through and start to go through perimenopause and then menopause. And every life stage where your hormones shift, your capacity to be more sensitive to energy and a whole lot of it all at once, it's like comes in. And so you take your teenage self, and all of a sudden you're 1,000 times more aware, but no one tells you. And so guess what starts to happen? This rage, this anger, because you don't have one, a healthy expression for this intensity of energy coming into your universe. Two, no one's sort of guiding, holding your hand, or supporting you through it. And so then parents deal with what they call their teenagers who are like raging mad. And I was definitely one of those teenagers. And so I had this very interesting relationship with anger where I was totally willing to fight. I was willing to get in people and the anger sort of scared me, right? And so here I am. I'm 27 or 28 years old, and I decide to go to Hawaii for an entire month in May. I had just finished, I believe I just finished grad school, or maybe I hadn't even started grad school. And I go to Hawaii for an entire month, and I'm living on the Big Island at a retreat center, and I'm working with this shamanic practitioner. And this shamanic practitioner believed in using breath work to activate the natural DMT in our bodies to have a spiritual experience. So there was no plant medicine, there was no tobacco, there was no like normal things that shamans in a lot of parts of the world use to take you on a spiritual journey. And so we learned how to, and I was trained in this, how to do this special breath work called breath of fire, not the Ayurvedic or the, Kundalini breath of fire. This is a different breath of fire. And this breath of fire sort of activates this natural DMT in your body. So here I am, going on this journey myself, but then I was invited by my shamanic teacher to help him hold space for all the retreats he was having. So, little Catherine, who was fascinated by energy work and always wanted to be a healer, but I didn't believe that I knew anything. I didn't believe that I had intuitive capacities. I certainly didn't believe I had healing capacities. I was just fascinated by those who were really good at healing. And so fast forward to this moment it was basically a 3-week long journey with this shaman. And I think it was week 2 or week 3. and we are going through sort of the energy centers of the body. So we're going through like the root energy centers, we're going through the sexual energy centers, the the part of your belly where it's a sense of I am. And we get to one of them, and this European man in his mid 40s. He's going through what he feels like is a life crisis. His wife has filed for divorce. He is not sure what his next steps are. He's missing his kids. And he goes into this dance, and he had been, basically not really eating, fasting, and then doing this breath work. And it kind of put him into this trance state for a long time. And so this man in this moment, blindfolded, right, with this breath work, he breaks. He has a complete breakdown. And that breakdown looks like literally like salivating out of the sides of his mouth. He's just so freaking in his rage and his anger and his frustration, and he is at full lung capacity, screaming at the top of his lungs. And my first gut instinct was to freeze, like, oh my god, that's really scary. And lo and behold, my shamanic teacher takes me, he picks me up, and he puts me right in front of this man, like to the point where I can feel his breathing on my face. I can, like, I'm getting like a little bit of a shower from his mouth, right? Like he and I realized in that moment I could not stand and freeze any longer. And I knew at that moment my job was to lower my barriers and completely surrender to holding a safe space for this man. And he was blindfolded, so he didn't know who I was. He didn't know, but he knew he could feel the heat of someone else in front of him. He knew there was somebody in front of him. And when you're blindfolded, what you do is all your other senses increase. When you do this breath work and activate the DMT, all your other senses increase. It's like animals, especially snakes, when they go through a shedding of their skin and a transformation, they start to lose sight in their eyes, but their sense of smell, their sense of taste is extremely heightened. Right, their sense of hearing, and actually, I don't even know if snakes have ears, but their senses just are like radically increased, and they can kind of intuit. So this man was intuiting that someone is in front of him. And here he is just like, like full on. And cute little 28-year-old Catherine is like, and I knew I just had to find a way to lower my barriers. And so as I lowered my barriers, his rage went to anger. His anger went to tears. His tears went to sadness. And then his sadness went to full blown sobs. And then from the sobbing, he had this like epiphany. And as he's crying, he starts to smile and laugh. Right? And I knew in that moment, as I got to witness every stage, I was like, this healing wasn't just for him. This was also for me. Because I had been raised in an environment in which one, anger was made really wrong, but it was the only way that I knew to get heard in my family. Right? If I wasn't being paid attention to, if I was being ignored, if I didn't get what I want, yes, I was a bratty teenager, I would rage or I would do anger. And in that process, right, it was like I got stuck, and our bodies get stuck in these nervous system like dynamics in which we don't necessarily know how to healthily sort of cycle through that energy. And so I wanted to share that story because maybe you can relate. Maybe there's an area of your life in which you feel stuck in a little bit of anger and rage. Maybe you have resentment towards a failed relationship or a failed business or something that you feel like failed. And usually when we're angry, we project our anger out at someone else. So let's say it's in a relationship, you say it's their fault. If it's business, you ping it or point the finger at someone else. And this shamanic teacher, he always used to say, if you're pointing a finger at someone else, you got at least three, if not four fingers, right, pointing back at you. And so he's trying to make the point that when you are angry, it's really easy to put that anger on someone else, to blame someone else. But the way that you heal and transform your own anger so that you can have your transformative moment, your epiphany, your aha, is you start to realize that you're angry at yourself, right? And I'll give you a quick example, and then I'm going to dive into how you can work with anger to support your own transformation in your life, how you can not sort of resist the anger that comes up, how you can make friends with the anger, but also this will serve you really well when you're in the face of someone you're working with and anger comes up, because anger is usually the first emotion that someone presents when they're going through a massive transformation and a massive healing. And so when somebody gets really angry, it's really easy as a therapist or a coach or a yoga teacher or massage or acupuncture. It's really easy to be like, oh, let's get rid of that. Oh, let's just get rid of it. But when you aren't in a hurry to get rid of what your clients are experiencing, to get rid of the emotion they're going through, when you're not in a hurry and you can just lower your barriers, like I did with this man in Hawaii, and, after that experience, he asked the teacher, he said, can I please ask who was in front of me? They changed my life. They were holding such a sacred, safe space that I knew I could rage and I wouldn't be made wrong, because men are made wrong for their anger. Women are made wrong for their anger, but men in particular don't necessarily they haven't learned how to healthfully access their anger in a way that doesn't make them wrong in society. So they have this really big fear that they don't want to come across as angry or rageful because they're afraid that they'll sort of push people away. And so there's this huge dichotomy in our society around anger. And it's made wrong if you are angry. It's made wrong, especially if you're a man who's angry. And so he asked the teacher, who was that? And he said, it was Catherine. And he came up to me and just started sobbing and gave me the biggest hug. And we sat on a rock, like with the flowers in nature, with the ocean kind of like splashing against the lava rock. And we had a 45-minute experience with each other where he finally felt like he could heal. And I knew in that moment that that experience had changed my relationship with anger, also changed the way that I was able to show up for my clients when they experience anger. And so what happens is someone will come in and the first energy that usually presents itself when they're healing is this rage, is this anger, and they're like, "Oh, it's intense." And so from that place of anger, if we stop that energy, we stop the healing that's possible. We stop the transformation that's possible. And so it's really uh sort of eye-opening and can be a really amazing evolutionary experience when you learn how to healthily deal with and make space for anger. Give it a voice, give it words, give it a sensation, give it a color, whatever is required. And when you lower your barriers to be total space with someone in the face of their anger, well, what happens in relationships? Someone gets angry, we get angry back. And then all of a sudden, that anger gets stuck in the cells of our body and it can't cycle through the body to heal. And so hopefully if you guys are here and you're listening and you resonate with this, like, please type in the chat, like, yes. Okay. You get to remain anonymous, no names, but I'm so glad that, excuse me, that you're here, because anger can actually be the window into your transformation. And so when you give it space, right? So, like I shared with this experience with this man, he went from anger, or he went from rage to anger to frustration to sadness to tears to totally crying. And then in the midst of his crying, he went into laughter and had a healing moment. And Hawaiians call that moment when you're crying so hard you start laughing, or you're laughing so hard you start crying. They call that moment ue. And ue is something that the Hawaiians believe that adults should have at least one ue experience a week to remain healthy. Now, children have this ue experience, especially little kids have this ue experience all the time. It's why they don't hang on to things. It's why they're able to get up off the ground, pick themselves up, and keep going, right? But adults we're not as keen to let ourselves kind of naturally feel the expression of going from crying to laughter, laughter to crying. But if you've had those experiences, you know what I'm talking about. And unfortunately, in the DSM-4 psychology dictionary, right, the dictionary for therapists, that in that DSM-4 Bible, and maybe there's a different, but when I was in grad school, it was DSM-4, right? Maybe it's now DSM-10, whatever version of that Bible is available. In that Bible, back when I was studying somatic psychology in grad school, that state where you cry so hard you start laughing, you laugh so hard you start crying, that was considered a state that needed medication. And so, what happens in sort of Western society, and it's sort of picking up all over the world, is we're taught as we get older to be more serious, to be more adult like, to be more, right? And so then we avoid these emotions and then we get stuck in them. And when we get stuck in them, we feel victim to them. And when we feel victim to them, we blame other people. Is this resonating with you guys? Like, if it is, and if you're on social media, right, and you're catching this video and you want to interact with us, right, and you want to ask a question live, because we're live right now. If you want to ask that question live, you can come to katherinemcintosh.com/connect, and you can interact with me on this video live, and happy to contribute. So I love this comment. It says, you made me realize that that is what occurred when my son, yeah, wow, that's in, wow, when my son wanted to kill me and I was total space and gave him permission. Wow. Gave him permission to kill me with no judgment from me if that would create more ease in his life. And that totally started to change our lives. And so it's so valuable when you, and this makes me want to cry because we're not taught that it's healthy to express our anger. Right? And here's the truth, and I know this for me, most of us don't express it in healthfully ways. Why? Because when that anger comes up, we're taught it's wrong. And so the only way then it comes out is in this form of an explosion, which isn't healthy. But if you can start to form a different relationship with anger. If you can go, oh, anger is a window into healing. Anger is a window into transforming. Anger is a window into giving space to something that hasn't had a healthy expression before. Okay, cool. I'm going to create a different relationship with anger. And this is healing for you, for your clients, for anyone, is when you lower your barriers and have space. But we're taught anger's wrong. And so I want to just invite you to look at the places in your own world right now where you might be holding on to some anger. And it's Sunday morning, so we're going to church. right? And we're gonna do the church of forgiveness. And I want you not to forgive other people. I want to forgive you. And so I remember when I was first married, I ignored my intuition. I ignored my awareness. I got married knowing I shouldn't, to my first husband, who was quite abusive, alcoholic, a lot of things. And I remember when we were going through our divorce, I lost all of the money, and I lost my income properties. I lost my houses, because in the state where we lived in at the time, it was 50-50 marital property no matter what. But he had a lot of debt. So the judge made me pay his debt. And then I had to give him half of everything. And I ended up selling everything and moving to Colorado and going to grad school to study somatic psychology, because I was like, there is something to this mind body connection. There's something to our energy and being able to cycle through these energies in a really healthy way. And so when we were going through a divorce and I lost everything, I was pissed, but I was pissed at him. And I was directing that anger at him for a very long time, which didn't allow me to be the person I knew I could be to create my new life. So I was stuck in this rut of feeling lack and feeling like I didn't have any more money. And I'd quit my multiple six-figure job that allowed me to buy all these income properties. And so I was like in this like conundrum of just pissed off. And it wasn't until till I went back to the day of our wedding when I went, wow, I know I shouldn't marry him. And I went, Catherine, I'm going to forgive you for ignoring your awareness. And this almost brings tears to my eyes because that was the moment that my life started to change and I started to heal. And so, if this conversation resonates with you, we're going to church right now. I want you to look at something in your life where you are holding on to anger and maybe you're misdirecting that anger at someone or something. And the way that you heal it, the way that you transform it, the way that you make peace with it is you look at the moment where you ignored your awareness. Wow. Wow. I love that. So the same person says, I was so angry at my son for crying all the time when he was a baby, not realizing at the time that he was aware of my pain. And that is the beauty of babies. It is the beauty of children. If your children are acting out, don't send them to therapy. You go to therapy. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. It isn't about your kid. Your kid is so hyper aware and so hypersensitive that if your child is acting out before the age of 13, before the age of 14, like find your awareness now. If it's 13, 14, 15, yeah, maybe they need therapy, but you need therapy. Don't just and you take ownership. Don't project it on your kid that something's wrong with your kid. Apologize for whatever you created in them. This is huge. And I am like, so a lot of you know I'm an intuitive and I get really hot or I'll get goosebumps. I am like not sweating, dripping, but heat is coming out of every inch of me at the moment. It's like, woohoo, because I'm on something. And all of you are starting to change something in your universe. And it can be as easy as literally going through this process of looking at where you're hanging on to anger in an area of your life. Maybe it's your finances, maybe it's at your husband, maybe it's at your friend, maybe it's at your failed business. Find that place where you're like, oh, I'm so angry, and we all have places. And then I want you to go to the moment that you ignored your awareness around this. Woo, hoo, hoo. So some of you might have tears, you might yawn. That's the way, excuse me, that the body releases anger, tension. It's the way the body heals. And your body might shake, you might like jolt. There's no right or wrong way. And so you go to that moment of ignoring your awareness and just say, I forgive you, right? Forgive yourself for ignoring your awareness. Forget, like, I'm a bulldozer, and I used to think that I could make anyone change. Really cute, right? Not so bright. Cute, not bright. And, and, you know, there's been moments in my life where I've had to forgive myself for thinking I could override something, right? And so let's do it again. I want you to, and if you guys are with me, say yes in the chat, okay? Or just like follow along. So if you want to close your eyes, close your eyes. You're just going to ask right now in the present moment, what is some area of your life where you're still angry? And it's either you're angry at someone, you might be angry at yourself, but usually it shows up first as angry at someone or something, angry at a situation. There you go. And you're just gonna, ooh, baby, say hi to that moment. And then I want you to go back in time to the moment where in this area you ignored your intuition. So maybe, like me, you said yes to marry someone and you knew you shouldn't, right? Maybe paid someone money that you knew you shouldn't. Maybe you made a interesting financial investment that you knew you shouldn't. Just go back to that moment in time where you knew, right? Your intuition knew and you ignored that intuition. And I want you just to, in that moment, whether you say it inside your head or out loud to yourself, just want you to forgive yourself. I forgive you. I forgive you for ignoring your intuition. I forgive you for doing it anyway. I forgive you for not listening because most times we are mad at ourselves, right? Yeah, she says that's why I picked the men I picked was was to help them potentially have an easier, better life, but they didn't want it, right? And somewhere in your world, like somewhere in my world, I knew they didn't want it. But I was like, "Oh, it'll be okay. We love each other enough. It'll be okay." So I want you to take that moment, right? Yeah. And just forgive yourself, whatever that is, right? Like I have my cute, amazing 10-year-old son who just came in to change. And, when I look at misdirecting my anger at, at other people, right? Misdirecting my anger at failed relationships or misdirecting my anger at failed businesses. All I'm doing is maintaining or trying to hide a rage or an anger inside of me. And my son, he can pick it up. So guess what he'll do? He'll get mad, he'll get upset. And so healing these things, it doesn't just heal it for ourselves. It heals it for the people we are connected to. It heals it for our children and our grandchildren and our future generations. And I don't think this is talked enough about is when we get together in a group and we do some transformational work like we're doing right now unintentionally. I didn't know we were going to go here, honestly. I just knew that wanted to talk about anger and to invite a different conversation around it and to open up sort of the possibilities of what could occur if you let yourself make friends with your anger. And so what happens is as you transform and heal it in yourself, you transform it and heal it in the people you're connected to, you transform it and heal it in your ancestral lineage, you transform it and heal it for future generations that you're connected to. It's quite a very, very powerful exercise. And I believe it was I think it was Tony Robbins. He was talking about a woman who had gotten diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, found a healer in Hawaii, went to this healer, and for 6 hours the healer said, "Who do you need to forgive?" They forgave. Who else do you need to forgive? They forgave. Who else do you need to forgive? They forgave. Who else do you need to forgive? They forgive. The next morning she woke up and she went to, get her scans or have her tests or whenever it was she flew home. I don't know the timing of it, but it was shortly after this experience with this healer in Hawaii. And the doctor said, "What the heck did you do?" It was like 95% of her cancer had left her body in less than 24 hours. And so may this be an invitation to all of you. You're not wrong for your anger. Anger is not a bad thing. We just have unfortunately not been taught how to resource it in a healthy way, how to express it in a healthy way, how to make friends with it, how to give it a voice so that it doesn't create destruction. Unfortunately, anger has created a lot of destruction on the planet. And when imagine if we heal anger on the planet, we'd probably change what's happening right now with all of the violence, all the gun violence, all the wars. We would change a lot. And so may this be your invitation. And if you guys would like to, I'm happy to walk you through it, but kind of need all of you to be like, yes, I'm in. Let's do a little quick 10-minute exercise on anger, or 5 minutes, however long it is, so we can healthfully cycle through this and begin to transform it in the world. And it's my dream that the planet wakes up to a different reality. And I know that I can do my best to do my part, and I can invite all of you to do your part. And if you're watching this video and it resonates with you and you feel like more people need to see it, please share it where it'll be seen. Share it with a friend, share it with someone who needs to hear this. But here's what I'm going to invite you to do is just go ahead and close your eyes. And yeah, I want you to just say hi to the anger that might be living inside of you. And it's okay to have that anger. You're not wrong. You didn't do anything wrong, right? Just is. And then I want you to take a breath. And as you say hi to that anger, I want you to see if you can give it a voice. Does it want to say something to you? Right. And it's interesting as I say it to my own, it's just like it just softens. It's like, oh man, it just softens. And it's like, oh, there's the sweet being inside. So, this process of just lowering your barriers, closing your eyes, and saying hi to the anger that's inside of you. And look, you can do this with your clients in a really easy way, but when you say hi to it inside of you, and then you just get curious. You don't make it wrong. You don't try and make it go away. You don't try and get rid of it. It's like, hi, I'm going to give you a voice. And do you have something to say? Right? Over time, that anger softens and it might be frickin' instantaneous. And the minute you heal it, guess what? You you literally create new neural pathways. You start to see life differently. You start to receive different energies. You start to maybe see a little bit more abundance in your life, a little bit more possibility, a little bit more like, oh, like enjoyment of the future instead of dread. And so you're just going to take a moment, and if it feels right to you, taking your hands, putting them on your body, and just like, yeah, forgive yourself. You're not wrong. You never were wrong. You just had a lot of life to live and to experience, right? To wake up. And so anger isn't a bad thing. We just have learned to express it in an unhealthy way. But when you learn and teach yourself how to be with it, you can transform lives, people, and we can change the planet. And, that's sort of my target, as crazy as it sounds, but you got to start somewhere. And so, you know, for the first time ever, ever, I am going to teach my energy work. And, I have been fortunate to spend 3 years in the jungles of South America with shamans. I was fortunate enough to study with a shamanic practitioner for years, traveling the world. I went to grad school for somatic psychology. I didn't finish because I realized that I was more interested in the group dynamic of healing as opposed to just the one-on-one. And in that group dynamic, it really transformed things. And so I've been putting off, and not because I was putting it off, I didn't want to teach it. I didn't know how to teach the work that I do in the world because I didn't want to teach a method. I didn't want to teach a system. I wanted to teach people to start to trust what it is that they know. And I am really excited for the first time ever to be offering a 3-month online course where there are live videos. So, meaning I record the video and then you take it into your own daily life. And you kind of follow along for 3 months, these videos. And then every week, twice a week, we get together for 60 to 90-minute calls, and you get to basically practice these videos in real life time and then come to the calls with your questions, with your curiosity. And at the end of this 3-month course, when you complete the course, you will get a certificate of achievement for going through this course. And this is really designed for people who are interested in increasing their ability to transform their clients, to work with energy in different ways. So, whether you're an energy worker, a massage therapist, an acupuncturist, you hold workshops or retreats, you're a yoga teacher, you're a coach, you're a feng shui practitioner, really anyone who works with energy. I wanted to invite people to consider that you already know. You just might not have been taught that you know. And so there are ways in which you can sort of work with the emotions, work with the nervous system, work with the whole being of somebody, body, mind, and spirit. And what's so great about this course and what's so great about healing work that I don't think is talked about enough is that when you help somebody transform, that thing inside of you in any way, shape, or form in its similarity also gets to transform. And when you do this in groups, it's like it's a whole thing. And so I feel for people who when they get done with their day, they're exhausted. This happens to hairdressers, happens to bartenders, right? When they get home at the end of the day, they're absolutely exhausted. And probably because they're healing and they don't even know it. So this energy work comes in all forms. And it's my target to show people that you don't have to be exhausted at the end of your day. Even if you put lashes on people, right? Like, or you do manicures or pedicures, it's about how do you be a conduit for this energy exchange that we're having all the time, 24/7 in the grocery store, in our normal life, every day, everywhere. We're having this exchange. And become better at not taking it on, become better at being this vessel of transformation that changes your life and then therefore changes the lives of people around you. So if you're interested and you're curious, I've got this amazing, I'm gonna take it on. You should be able to see it. Hopefully it'll, there we go. Come on board. If you're on the website, you'll be able to see it. So if you're on social media and you want to check it, awesome. Yeah, love it. Says, so flipping grateful for you offering this possibility of awareness to us regular beings. Well, you ain't regular, darling. None of you are regular if you're watching this, right? And so I've got this intuitive energy course, and I'd love for you to check it out. And if it speaks to you, if you're like, oh my gosh, right? I'm all in, like, check it out. This course, could be a lot of money, and I am, charging half what I could charge. And I'm giving you guys over $3,500 in bonuses. Some of those bonuses expire at the end of tomorrow. I'm going to do another video tomorrow on a totally different topic. If you like these videos, please feel free to share them. You can share them right from the website, right? Pretty cool. And so if you check out this course, right, and you're like, oh, yeah, I'm in. Or if you check out this course and you're like, I don't know if it's right fit for me. I am doing, for those of you that you want to be in, I'm doing something special as well. And this is for only people who are like, yes, I want to be on this course, right? Is I'm also going to be offering for those of you that are like, you can do it, but you're not sure it's the right fit, or you're not sure you have the time. And I would definitely like, click on the intuitive energy course, and then look at the bottom of the page. I've got a ton of FAQs, like what happens if I can't be on live for every call? What happens if I don't complete the course in the next 3 months? Like, do I still get the certificate? How long are the calls? What's required? All those things are in the FAQ at the bottom of the page. And yeah, you're so welcome. She says, so much possibility here. Thank you for this intentional forgiveness of ourselves in those moments. My friends, if you spend the next week, the next 7 days doing this practice, forgiving yourself, you will change your life. And so this intuitive energy course is designed not just to make you better for your clients, it's designed to make you better for you, right? Because here's the deal. You can talk your walk, but you got to walk your walk to really like go through life making that big difference or small difference. But here's the deal. When you're clear, you make a big difference everywhere you go. Doesn't matter if you're a stay-at-home mom, a single mom, doesn't matter if you're working at Starbucks. When you're a clear vessel, you change the world. And it's my target to see the world become a better place to live in. And so, for those of you that go through the intuitive energy course page and you're like, oh my God, I'm in, but I'm not really sure, Catherine, I want to invite you to just unveiled it is to book a discovery session. It's a 30-minute session. You got to show up. You don't get a redo if you missed because I'm doing these for free to see if you're a match for the intuitive energy course, and if we can just, sort of get clarity for you. So that's all I got for you guys today. I'm going to go live again tomorrow. If you liked this video, please feel free to share it, right? Share the link. Like, you can do it from the website because that's where we interact. You can also do it on social media, but you can find me on katherinemcintosh.com/connect. And that connect will take you to where I am live. And so tomorrow, May 1st, can't believe it's already May. I'm also going live again, 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So that would be, what is it? 7 p.m. Uh, Central European Time. And if you would like to join, yeah, awesome. You're so welcome. She says, you've created so much space. Thank you. You're so welcome. You guys, this is huge. This is huge. So only book a discovery session if you're serious about wanting to know more. You've read through the intuitive energy course. You're like, I'm on the fence, and you need to get clear with inside yourself. Book that session. If you're like, yeah, no, don't book it. Okay. So thank you for being here. We're going to be live tomorrow, same place, same time, same channel, 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central European Time. And tomorrow's topic, let's see if you guys want it. Oh, well, you'll just have to see. We'll be surprised by tomorrow's topic. It's a good one, though. It's a good one, and it's more of this. So come along for the ride. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you next time. I just am so grateful for all of you. Thanks for being here.